Hi, and welcome to MBF3C. I am Mrs. Filipovic, and I thought I'd just make a little intro video on the course and the expectations and how it's going to work online. As you can see behind me, I made a little whiteboard here that I thought would work, but I couldn't get the lighting quite right in my house to get that to work. So I have a picture here for you that we'll just go down and break through. So this course is designed as the foundations for college. So if you are, if your pathway is heading to college, this math is designed for that. Not to say that if you weren't heading to the workplace, that this math wouldn't be helpful. It would be particularly for anything in entrepreneurial studies, sales. That type of thing is really important when we're dealing with modeling data. As well as if you are heading to an apprenticeship, this math will help you. So the trig is very applicable, as well as the geometry, data, that type of thing. There is more in there, but there is a little bit for everyone. So I'll just break down what I have for you. So the course is semestered online, and it has the exact same expectations as in class. So I'm teaching the same course in class. Second semester, we'd be doing the exact same thing, just virtually this time. Your final grading is broken down into 70% in class and a 30% final evaluation. In the past, I know that AMDEC has run a 30% final exam, but when I've ran this class in school before, we've broken that down into a task and a final exam, so we might split that up. I just have to get some direction on that. In terms of your attendance virtually, so this is a really key point for you to understand, and that is that attendance is taken weekly. Okay, so legally, I weekly take attendance. So if you've logged in that week and you've worked on modules, sorry, not modules, we're not allowed to call them that anymore. If you've worked on lessons, then you are counted as present for that week. The guidance from the AMDEC department, though, is that you should be logging in daily. So I will be assigning daily work, and then you want to make sure you have all of that daily work done by the end of the week. And a really good suggestion from the department is that they found you should really be working on it during your scheduled AMDEC period. So try not to fill that time with work or making commitments to other classes, or if it's first period, making sure you're not sleeping in for that period. It's really important that you are logging in regularly because it will help you be successful in an online course. Okay. So let's flip over to this side here. My attempt at being artistic. You won't see as much of this from me, but I am not an artist whatsoever. So this took me 3 or 4 tries, and I'm pretty darn proud of my spiral that I have here. So our course will be broken down into a spiral, and a lot of math is shifting this way. So essentially what it is we really want to build a nice strong foundation here of skills that you have, and we will do that in the first mini unit where we get to know you, you get to know a little bit more about yourself, and we work on refreshing some of those basic math skills. And then from there we build up into introducing the starter of all of our topics. So we do have roughly 8 topics. There is quadratics, data or statistics, geometry, working with exponents, finance, trigonometry, probability, and then the algebra of quadratics. So rather than a traditional course where we would do maybe all of data and then move on to all of geometry, we're going to touch on the first little part of each of these topics. And then that gives you time to think, process, ask questions, redo some stuff before we come back and build on it. So then that's in the first spiral. And then we come back around, and in the second spiral, we're going to build on each of these topics again. So we're going to start with one piece, practice it, go into the next one, practice that one piece, and then we're going to build on it in the second round. Okay, and so far the course is broken down into 3 spirals. So we will build 3 times, and the goal is that by the time you get to the 4th spiral, we're working on mastery skills. So we're really focusing on changing assessment in education, and particularly in math. So having high stakes assessments where at the end of each unit you have a massive test and you have to regurgitate everything that we've done in the past couple weeks doesn't really demonstrate what you understand, because it just puts too much pressure on that. And we're going to talk more about the brain science, particularly around learning math, and why we've moved to this model of assessment through triangulation, and why we've moved to spiraling. So I'm happy and excited to share that info with you, but that will be at a later date. So assessment through triangulation essentially means that we're looking at 3 areas. So previously you would have been assessed on just product. So a test, a quiz, something like that, a final project, that type of thing. That's all product stuff. We still have some of those, so we are going to have weekly-ish quizzes. There may be a few weeks in there where we don't have one based on what we're working on. And they're going to be roughly 2 or 3 questions, sometimes just 1. The goal isn't to stress out about these. The goal is to check in and demonstrate what you know so far. We are also looking at an end of spiral activity. So rather than having a big test at the end of each spiral, we're going to do an activity, essentially where you're going to be assigned a topic and you are going to demonstrate mastery in that topic. And there's a lot more in there, but I don't have a whole lot of time right now, so we'll do that in another video. And then there will be 2, possibly 3 other little tasks that I'd like you to do in terms of catching some areas. So at the end of each spiral, you're going to have a section, but then I might need to fill in some space if you've missed some of the categories, some of the topics in there. So I might have a couple activities or tasks in order to cover that learning goal. All right, so the new 2 ones that they're pushing is this idea of observation, which can be very challenging in an online course, because if we were in classroom and you were working on something and I noticed that you were doing it or we talked about it, I could actually check that off as being assessed, that you are able to do that task, and you wouldn't necessarily need to write another assessment or a test or a quiz on it because you've demonstrated it. So the way we're going to do that in this course is we're going to work on annotated solutions to the practice work. Not all of it. You're going to submit one for each one, for each daily practice, and I'll do another video on how to do an annotated solution so that I can see all your thinking. And then lastly, we are looking at doing virtual conferencing. And there will be a minimum of 4, so at least 1 each spiral to a maximum of 8. And that would be essentially where you and I would sit down virtually, much like we have going right here, and we would discuss a topic. And for that, again, I would highlight more things that I would expect, but I'm just giving you kind of a touch on what to expect in this course. So I'm sure you have questions. I am here for that, and hopefully some of the next videos may help answer that, and if not, I'm here. So message, chat, email, do whatever you need to get a hold of me and get those questions answered. Good luck, and we'll see you in the next video.